broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
The spirit climbs my spine to the brain, following the
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the iZombie After Show, right here on AFTERBUZZ TV. We are so excited to be here with you tonight. This was a very intense episode, a special episode, because it's the mid-season finale already. What? Very, very crazy. It's like just flying by. Yep, flying by. This was an exciting holiday-themed episode 9 for everybody. And as particularly special because it was like superhero themed.
I loved it.
How fun
so
was
great.
this?
Yes.
So we're gonna kick it off and get into everything in just a moment. Desiree and I are holding down the fort by ourselves tonight. We are missing a couple of our panelists, but I'm excited.
Me too.
We're gonna handle this.
Let's do it.
Yes. I'm your host, Blake V. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Blake V Media.
And I am Desiree Murphy, and you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at dmurph625. And we have some awesome shout-outs tonight. So we have some fans that are always tweeting us. We got Dustin Bradley. Give it up to you.
As always, so good. Like,
Always.
super fan.
#1
We
fan.
love it.
And then also shout out to Christopher Not Walking this week. And
So
also
good.
Tom Valentine. And of course, our two hosts that can be here tonight, Gilkerson Radio and the Hotshot Dude.
Absolutely, we miss them.
I know.
We miss them.
Sad.
Yes, I know, but just wait. When we come back from our mid-season break,
Oh, don't you worry.
we'll be here full force.
on.
Don't you worry. Don't you worry. Okay, so tonight's episode was so much fun. We got to see Liv and everybody live in this whole alternate superhero universe, which was very cool because it was a whole throw to the DC comic world.
Amazing.
Yes, that iZombie comes from, and the CW is really connected to DC and the whole, just the whole experience. You already have Arrow, you have The Flash. We got a little teaser during tonight's episode 2 about the brand new Legends of Tomorrow coming out soon, right?
Yes.
So the CW is really doing their share to jump into the DC, family and everyone is so excited about it. It's way cool.
It is so cool.
Yes.
I love
so,
it. Can't
I know
go
it.
wrong.
So good. So exciting. So that kicking us off was like way cool. And we got to see Liv become full superhero. And she was so funny.
She killed it.
And the voice, the superhero voice.
Yes.
She nailed it.
The whole time. It was great.
So
I loved it.
So convincing. It was so good. Okay, so I want to just jump right into the biggest, just bomb drop of the whole entire episode. At least for Desiree and I, when we were watching the episode, we were just like, what? And that is the end of the episode, breakups.
No, tears.
Oh man.
I
All right.
mean, Hannah will be happy.
Right.
At least there's that.
This opens up a whole new world of opportunities for Hannah.
Exactly.
And Liv and Blaine, or some combination
Someone
like
else,
that.
maybe.
Yeah. So first we saw that Babs and Liv are no more. Babs straight up fired Liv.
Yeah.
My
For
God.
crossing the line.
Totally crossing the line.
But would you ever expect that? No.
No.
Never would I ever have guessed that. That would never have been a prediction of mine.
Never. Yeah, because Liv does so much to help
She
Babs.
does.
90% of every case is through Liv's help and her visions and everything. So this time, she really, really crossed the line. And Babs set the whole scenario up. He said, you can't go to a location and just accost somebody and, search and do whatever you're trying to do without a warrant. You can't just go on suspicion alone. And so, he laid it out for her in the beginning, but superhero brains.
She wasn't having it as superhero Liv.
Was not having it. So she was just like, I'm going to go handle this. totally backfired and set off this whole case that we're going to get into, which Desiree and I have some questions, so we'll get into it. But Babs finally had enough. And it was interesting because, you know, all along, it has been a really interesting relationship. Babs and Liv, the way that they interact and the way that they function as a team is very unique.
Yeah.
Not everyone has a psychic sidekick
right,
solving their problems for them. So the fact that this finally crossed the line and Babs is willing to give that up and fire her.
Well, I can't
Shocking.
even picture Babs on the job at this point. Like, we've come so far in iZombie with Babs and Liv being a team. I cannot see him functioning, doing his job without her, honestly.
Right.
Like, he's gonna fail. Babs, you're gonna fail.
Liv helps you. What are you thinking, Babs? Oh. I gotta say that part of me went to this little dark place of previous predictions where I thought that maybe the Boz, Dale Bozzio, might have had something to do with it.
Ooh.
I know. Because I have this feeling that Bozzio's character is like up to no good for some reason.
Yeah.
She's really not given me any thorough reason to think this.
Yeah.
But I kind of just feel like something's not like 100%
I think
with
maybe
her.
Someone on the panel has said this before. So
Probably
maybe
me.
it's you.
Yeah, I think I've been on it for a couple episodes. So I get this vibe that it's just like not the best, and it makes me feel like maybe she was planting the seed. Like, well, what? Liv.
I can see that, like behind the scenes, what we don't see.
Exactly.
Babs is like,
and it's just been like weighing heavy on Babs' mind. So finally, this happened. It crossed the line, and he's like, "Enough of you, Liv.
Yeah.
You're done."
I finally have a reason, an excuse.
Yes.
I could see that.
Right? Huh?
Smart.
Maybe I should have saved that for predictions. Anyway, just an observation. So yes, and then even more major than Babs essentially firing Liv was the major Liv breakup.
Oh, I know.
So we've been seeing.
Can't get over it.
I know, shocking.
Really sad.
Oh, so sad. So sad for all of the major Liv fans. You know.
I know. It's like we're finally, they've come together. We've been waiting for so long. At least some of us have. And then
Some of us.
This. No way. You gotta be kidding me.
I know. And they were having some troubles. Yes, we saw in the last couple episodes, particularly last week, where there was the whole sexting drama.
Yeah.
And it opened again. This episode opened with the whole drama between Major and Liv and how he had a previous texting and other relations with Gilda slash Rita.
Whatever you want to call her.
Exactly. So, so we've seen them, having troubles and everything, but Major has been so,
He's been great.
He's been so great. And this whole episode chronicled his efforts and him meeting this new zombie woman totally like opened his eyes and made him, just really feel like he was understanding where Liv was coming from.
And he says it too, or the girl does, just saying like, you're a great boyfriend, like you are the epitome of what like a great boyfriend would be. And he's like, yeah, I am. And it's like, Liv, what are you doing?
I know, it's crazy.
And then also, I mean, we'll get to this later, but I know for sure, like at the end when they're breaking up too, he says, well, it's not going to be like this forever, which it's like, okay. Back in the beginning too, she was thinking the same thing. Like, oh, this could be a forever thing.
I
where,
know, right?
I'm going to be a zombie, so.
Totally.
I don't know.
Poor Major keeps getting caught up with all these zombie girls.
Up and down.
Totally. And, it was really just extra heartbreaking that Major had this whole realization and he was like, had this epiphany and he was home and preparing this whole lovely scene for Liv to walk into. And she just walked in and just slapped him down.
Yeah.
Was like, nope.
Which is like, it came out of nowhere too. So I'm like, is that the brain? Is that Liv? I do feel like it was Liv, but I feel like she was so messed up about the news that she got about Babs.
Yeah.
That she's just like,
running high on emotions.
You know what? I'm done with everything. Yeah, yes. Apparently.
Yes.
Which is so emotional.
Totally. And I think that's reasonable.
Yeah, I do too.
Like when you got a bunch of crazy shiz going on, you're not thinking straight. Totally happens to the best of us.
It does.
Totally does. Yes. Now, side note, I have this in my notes. By the way, my notes
we have notes like crazy.
My notes are insane. I've got like small pieces of paper and like doodles and circles and like craziness everywhere. So bear with me. I've got thoughts that will come out at some point or another. We always.
It's a crazy episode.
It's a crazy episode. So anyways, you're along for the ride. Welcome.
Yes.
We always love to see the food.
We do.
That Liv prepares.
Yeah.
Every single episode she prepares something different. And some of the stuff looks really good, some of it not so much. But tonight, we totally liked what she made.
We did. Okay, so behind the scenes, fact about watching shows at AFTERBUZZ, we have headphones like this on as we're watching. And we saw the food and we literally looked at each other, took our headphones like this, and we're like, that looks good.
Same time.
Yeah.
So it totally was good.
I would eat it.
For sure. It was like a Brains hoagie, like a Brains deli sandwich. Totally.
Maybe we're just hungry. I don't know.
I know. It's dinner time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, whatever.
Oh, well, dinner after this. Brains sandwiches, apparently. Yes, and so sort of just final thoughts too on the Major and Liv situation is that I did, it's sort of funny that they've spent so much time on the whole like trust issue, and they were leading up to the breakup at the end of the episode ultimately, but at the beginning they were still, the whole issue of trust and like who were you texting and who were you talking to? That totally was just interesting to me that they were spending so much time on it and that they were really like making that a huge focal point, and it was like, just such a big issue.
Yeah.
And from a relationship standpoint too, I thought it was interesting that he's receiving these inbound texts and then Liv was getting so mad like he was engaging in this whole situation, but he really wasn't.
I know,
and you kind of can't get mad at
And I was
incoming
wondering
texts.
last episode too, I was like, okay, like now that she's going to be off these crazy stalker brains, is she even going to bring it up? And she did. So
She did.
we expected that and it happened, but
There we have it. We expected it and it happened.
it happened.
Cool. So let's jump into the case.
Yeah, let's do it.
This crazy case. All right. So we open up to a vigilante crime fighter in superhero gear. We find out that this is Chris Allred, the Fog. That's his superhero
He
name.
was a shop teacher by day
Yes.
and then the superhero by night.
Crime fighter by night, right? The Fog in Seattle. It's really clever. It's so good. I liked it. So we come to find out that he was sort of involved in putting together this like super group, something like the Justice League, and he was gathering all of his other vigilante crime fighter superhero friends and sort of assembling this group to fight nightly crime.
Yes.
Yes, so they were all aware of the Fog and his involvement in the city and his whole
And he was expecting something big, which we later find out.
Yes. Man, so many big things happen in this case. Like
There's so much.
As always.
Thank you, notes.
Complete like this craziness I'm trying to figure out as we go. Yes. So he was trying to put everyone together. I thought this was really cute too when they were trying to discover, everything that happened when they found the Fog dead. Of course, they went through their
dumpster.
Exactly, in the dumpster. Of course, they go through all their avenues of investigation. But later in the episode, when they bring in the whole roundup of the supergroup into the station, I know. And then Liv is like prep talking them all, and she's like, all right. She goes down the line and calls them all by their superhero names. And then she totally made a Batman reference, and then she was like, consider Babs your Jim Gordon.
I loved that. That
Right?
was so great. I put that down too.
I know.
Not
so
like
good.
we would forget a quote like
No,
that.
so good. See, like all this
Such good
tie-in.
stuff.
Oh, I love it. So good. Anyway, so that was exciting. That was clearly exciting for D. Murph and I.
Yes.
But anyway, so we come to find the Fog dead. He's in the dumpster. They're like, what the heck has gone on? Essentially, their investigations took them to this woman, Mary Contreras, who they found to be she was a victim of being mugged because she had this suitcase.
Yeah.
Yes, suitcase, purse. Something with
It may have been a suitcase.
yes, with $50,000 in it, not of her own, as we learned through Carlos, one of the security that Mr. Boss hired at this poker game that he was holding. Mary came to the poker game, money in hand, and proceeded to make this high stakes bid in the poker game with Mr. Boss. Crazy. So Carlos and Jerry, security there at the poker game, they witnessed this whole thing, and it's sort of interesting because Desiree and I were trying to kind of figure out too. We learned in the case what she did, but we didn't really understand her motive.
Yeah, at all.
And what her connection was in the story of like how she got the money in the first place and then like feeding it back into Mr. Boss's poker game. Hit us up and let us know. We'll chat about it. Because we were curious. We were kind of curious. So we come to the end where Liv is in like full superhero mode.
Yes.
So good.
Which is maybe one of my favorites. So, at least this season.
For sure.
Yeah.
I mean, this was so good. And so she comes in, she sees all of Mr. Boss's thugs. They're up to no good. Guns.
Trying to sell the guns.
Trying to sell the
from
guns.
what we saw.
They have Mary tied up in a chair. Liv totally thinks she's just this innocent damsel and that she needs to come and just save the day and rescue her. And she proceeds to do just that.
Exactly. And little does she know, though, like Mary's in this chair and she's like, oh, I'm going to rescue her. But had she have talked to Babs, she would have known, oh, this lady might not be the one that we should be rescuing.
Case in point where she crossed the line.
All she needed to do was talk to Babs.
Right. But she didn't. That brain messed her up. Just got the best of her. So in her complete, misinformation in this whole event, takes out all the thugs, got a little beat down on the way. She got shot.
Yeah.
She,
no big deal.
No big deal. I mean, she's a zombie. No big deal.
Exactly.
Ends up untying and rescuing Mary, essentially. Mary flips the script, nearly takes out Liv, knifes her in the back. No, hits her on the head.
Yeah.
It was like a knife in the back, essentially.
It was, yeah.
And then almost goes in for the kill, and then Mr. Boss steps in.
Who's just conveniently
Who's
there.
just there.
Yeah.
Just sees the thing. Okay, so this is where D. Murph and I had more questions.
Yes.
So Mr. Boss is on the scene. He's there right in perfect timing to shoot Mary, save Liv's life. And the question essentially is like, how and why?
Exactly. The why is my biggest question.
The why.
Yeah.
Yes. So we know that, Mr. Boss, Max Rager, Blaine, they're all involved in this to some extent. Whether it's, whether they know of each other as zombie affiliates or they're trying to, they're trying to incorporate their whole crime business via drugs or, all of these factors, they all are sort of like the key players in this whole thing. So it's very possible that that Mr. Boss is aware of things that are going on and knows Liv's involvement. As we sort of see at the end, we come to know that Mr. Boss is aware of the zombie situation and what is happening. Because previously, we knew that he was involved in the drug ring that Blaine used to be a part of. But now it's like, now he's, getting wise to the situation. And he's doing just like Blaine. He's like, well, Blaine's got the drugs going on and the zombie monopoly. I'm going to jump in on this. Right?
Craziness.
So crazy. So, that sort of leads us to Drake. Right? So Drake. So we have a brand new player in this whole thing, which is perfect that they set him up on this finale. So we have to stew over our break on what's going to happen.
So Drake and Liv.
I
would love a Drake and Liv.
Drake
Let
and
me tell
Liv.
you.
He sort of was giving me like Channing Tatum vibes.
Interesting. Well, when I first saw him, he reminded me of this one dude on Teen Wolf, but it wasn't. I was like, getting excited. I was like, well, maybe that's him.
Is it him? Is it him?
But it wasn't.
Wasn't him. Dang.
No, I was sad.
It's a new one.
But hey.
New one to add to
a
your
new one.
list.
That's always a good thing, right?
Yes. Totally.
Yes.
So, so it was interesting. We, he was brand new. We didn't quite understand what was happening the whole entire episode. We're like, what's this guy? What's he doing in all of this? We come to find at the end that he is in cahoots with Mr. Boss. Crazy.
I know.
We both were just like, oh, when Mr. Boss leaves the police station after his whole little interrogation.
Drake is just waiting there.
He's like, let's hit the road. And it's Drake. So, immediately my brain was just like, because Drake is infiltrating Blaine's whole situation.
Exactly.
Oh man, it's like scary. And you just, it's either, I wonder if it's for like research purposes? Like, is he telling Drake to infiltrate the system so that he can then repeat it on his own accord and then like compete with Blaine? Or is he doing it to straight up kill Blaine and just get rid of the competition at first availability? You know, steal the information, then do away with him?
It could be either.
Oh man.
And it's intense. And
It's so intense.
Crazy. I kind of like this.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I really
it's great.
do.
Yes.
Yeah, this whole Drake storyline I like.
I love it because things are already getting dicey with Max Rager.
Exactly.
And we already have, you know, Major working for them. He's now the zombie killer. Liv doesn't know. That's a whole nother issue when she finds out. We've got Gilda stirring things up, trying to get involved with Major, living with Liv, like just, you know, she's privy to this whole zombie situation too. It's just like, you know, these major storylines are coming out in an excellent way. And now that we're starting to see competition to Blaine's whole enterprise that he's created, is really interesting.
I know. I love it.
Yeah, it's super juicy.
We needed something like that. We really did.
We totally did, because for a long time, it was just Blaine. And that's great. We love Blaine. But now is the time where we're finally seeing, like, he's going to have to fight for his place a little bit.
Yes, I'm glad.
He's not
he should.
There you go. He's not the top dog anymore.
Exactly.
And we were also really glad to see Blaine this episode because we missed him last episode.
We missed him so much.
He was gone. He was missing. Anyways, yes. So huge shocker there that Mr. Boss is now included. And I love that guy who plays Mr. Boss.
Me too.
Oh, he's
so creepy and like
so creepy. Oh, he's so creepy.
Yeah.
And you know what's funny? Because
he does it well. He does
it
such
so
a good
well.
job.
And you know what's so funny? I think it was just the two of us last time when we revealed, when we had the Mr. Boss reveal, and we were just like, this guy.
He's so creepy.
But
and my thoughts are the same.
Totally the same. They're so good. But what's funny too is then I was like, oh, this guy is Mr. Boss. Now I totally like it. Like I'm in. I see it. I'm totally on board with him being Mr. Boss.
Yeah. And how about him as Santa tonight?
Oh my God, hilarious.
Another creepy thing. Hey.
Well, it just goes to show what a solid character he is, because he's totally pulling off these dual identities, right?
For sure.
He's got like the law-abiding, Santa Claus impersonating, interrogating, you know, succeeding. Like he was
he can do it all.
He can do it. Like he was totally passing with flying colors. All of these like tests that were thrown at him as being like a upstanding citizen. And not only is that untrue, but he's got this major crime ring, zombie ring, just a whole mess of stuff going on that people don't even know.
I know. It's
amazing.
Crazy. Yeah, I do have a question going back to like when Liv got knocked on the head.
Yes.
Does she know that was Stacy Boss? I mean, I'm sure she was told later, but like, does she remember that? Because everything was like a blur to her. She's like, where's your crew? Where's the guns? Like, does she remember that whole scenario?
I mean, I don't think so. She saw what she saw when she went there to fight.
Exactly.
But it's interesting because after he shot Mary and Liv was knocked out, the whole scene disappeared.
Exactly.
He made sure to clear everything out. Yeah. So when they brought her in, when Babs brought her in for like the final questioning, she only could recall from when she was there, and it was like she was crazy.
I mean. Yeah.
It was like a lie, or she was like dreaming or something. That's the creepiest thing about Mr. Boss, is he's capable of so much gnarly stuff.
Yeah.
And you know he knows about Liv, and you know that he now knows about Blaine, and you know that it's just a matter of time before he fully becomes a key player. Like, up until this point, he's just been on the exterior, like looming, and it's like, Mr. Boss, Mr. Boss. But now he's totally in the game. In this last moment where he left the station with Drake, confirming the whole just, you know, stake that he has in this situation, it was intense.
It was super intense.
Super intense. So we're excited to see more of Mr. Boss.
I know.
And all the kooky
Never
business.
thought I'd say something like that, but hey.
Right?
Yeah.
My God. Never would I have thought.
No.
It's like, I know he's
love his character now.
Super compelling character.
Yeah.
Compelling character, compelling actor. We're excited to see more. I also was curious the whole time about Liv's name. I was like, what's going to be her superhero name?
And they threw some things around, but they never actually came up with one, right?
Kind of. In the scene where she was fighting in that warehouse before the whole Mary situation, the guy's like, who are you? She's like, I'm the Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yes, I forgot about that. I'm so glad you wrote that down.
Yes!
I was like, that's the best.
It was good. It was really good.
It was very good.
The Nightmare Before Christmas
Props
in our
to the
holiday
writers
episode.
for that one. That was awesome.
So clever. Yeah. Man, they're so clever. I love also when they're coming back from a commercial, they have like their little comic scene drawn out, and their little creative blurbs, like their little word blurbs, are always so creative and hilarious.
They really are.
Like the first one that we came into said Violent Night, like Silent Night. Get it?
So cool.
Get it?
I love it.
So funny. And then they had Mary tied up in the chair when she went into the warehouse, and it was like, Mary, Mary, why you bugging? Run DMC. Come on.
I know. It's the best.
Man.
They're
good.
So clever.
They're so clever with everything. All of their references are amazing, and all of the animated quips, fantastic. Fantastic. Okay, so Drake. That's like a whole thing. I think it's time for another bombshell, and that is the Ravi Cure.
Yes.
Cure,
oh my
not
gosh.
cure.
Yeah.
Oh.
I know.
Okay, so Ravi had what he thought was potentially the cure. We have the lab rats that he's been working with this whole entire time. He had one that he was testing and was very hopeful that this may very well be the cure for all of these zombies he's now found himself in such close relations with. It's so sad. It's so sad. It's hard to explain. The rat only held the appearance of a zombie-free rat for 162 days, and then it reverted to complete zombie.
Sadness.
A full reversion. It's so sad. So
and poor Major is hanging on the fact, like, okay, he's banking on it. Like, Robbie's gonna find a cure,
and not only to be back together with Liv, but for all the zombies he's putting in the freezer.
Yes.
Oh,
that freezer.
Like, what is he going to do? He's going to create the zombie apocalypse yet again when they thaw.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's no cure. It's going to be so bad.
Oh, gosh.
So poor Major, he's hanging on to false hope.
Yeah.
We knew this would happen. If there was a cure, there'd be no show.
Exactly.
So we knew there wasn't quite going to be a cure. That doesn't mean that there won't be in the future, or at least some form of it. This is sort of like round one, I think. You know, he got what he thought was the cure. It only lasted, half a year, essentially, and then it didn't take. So now he knows that had he, everybody who was hit with the cure before in episodes past, it wouldn't even have lasted. So Blaine is now human.
Yes.
But is he really?
I know.
Like, anybody that was hit with that, cure is basically screwed.
And maybe that explains, like, the, like when the hair raises up.
Yes. The senses that still remain. Totally. Yeah. And so that's really interesting because, if they're not told this information, what a shock. What a shock to just one day be like,
oh, I just woke
back
up as
again.
a zombie again, craving some brains.
Totally. They're like, I thought it passed.
I know.
Damn it.
So that will be very interesting too, to like get a hold of all of these people. And will they? I don't know.
Completely. And it'll be interesting to see how soon they do this. Because, we haven't seen Max Rager developments
in a while.
Yeah, and we certainly didn't see any in tonight's episode. So, theoretically, we could touch on this whole Cure Max Rager thing this season still, but I wonder if they're going to do that or if they're going to draw it out and hold it for the next season, because we all know there's going to be a next season.
Yes.
So that'll be really interesting to see too how they play this whole thing.
I know.
It's so much information now in the season 2 to play with that it's really, really exciting. Like,
it really is.
It could go so many different ways.
So many different ways.
Yeah, it's really good. So anyways, we were very sad. Very sad for Ravi. And he was like so depressed at the end, and he's recording his little
like when he was like in
sermon.
a field.
He was like introspective
it was, like, the
in a field.
perfect scene. Yeah.
The zombie cure didn't take. What am I gonna do? Poor Ravi.
I know. He's been through so much this season.
He's been through so much. And he's such a good friend. And he's just like so He means so well.
He does.
Okay, I want to talk really quickly too about our new zombie lady.
Yes.
That Major got a little friendly with. So I totally felt like he was over Liv, and he was like trying to hit on this new girl at first.
I know.
I'm like, okay, moving in on this girl. In a very flirtatious way, not necessary for killing her if you're there to kill zombies, just saying.
Right.
But he did like a little surveillance and spying and gathered some information on this lady, and it was a very interesting approach.
Yeah.
Obviously, she was gorgeous. So, surely he was very interested in finding out what he could.
Yeah.
But that was some killer information too.
Yes, it was.
No pun intended. So he goes in to kill her.
Yeah.
Or to put her to sleep, to put her in the freezer. But for sake of this conversation, we're going to call it killing her. He goes in, sees that she's already beating him to it. She's going to do it herself.
Yeah.
She's got the plastic spread out on her
In a beautiful house with beautiful decorations,
which
too.
I thought was very noteworthy, because you're going to be dead.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter what mess you leave because you're dead.
I know, that was so interesting.
But she's like, no, I'll put the plastic for myself.
Yeah.
I'm not cleaning it, but I care for who is.
Exactly.
Totally. So she's going to kill herself. This was hilarious to me because, yes, Major clearly had some attraction to her or some sort of feelings towards her. But realistically, he had Liv. Like, was he really gonna do anything with her?
Yeah.
We don't know. But she was already gonna do herself in. Easy. Like, he could have just stood there and watched her do it, and then he could have just, okay, done. He one off his list that he didn't have to do.
Exactly.
Since he has such an ethical, moral
Very
problem with
easy.
it. Totally. But instead he's like, no! Leaps in front of her, risks her zombie rage, and then they proceed to have a very
Friendly
chat.
I guess you could call it that.
Something. Very interesting. So in this whole process, we learned some really amazing information about her. I thought it was super amazing. It's really interesting how every episode they're bringing in new qualities of the zombieism that we are unaware of, you know?
Exactly.
And we have so many questions about like various people, various characters and walks of life and different ways of living. And this was super interesting. So she was a call girl as a human, a call girl in her regular life. And then she was with a client who turned her into a zombie. Her pimp, actually. Wasn't it her pimp?
she
It was
called
either
him
her
her
client or
pimp.
pimp. Okay. So she was turned into a zombie, and then now she was like a zombie hooker.
Yeah.
Her words.
Yeah, and she
Zombie
has no
hooker.
choices at this point anymore. So
Oh my God. It was devastating.
it was very sad.
It was really a heavy moment, and it was
Yeah.
really creepy,
and she
too.
talks about it like it's so normal because it is normal to her. So
Yeah.
everything she's saying, it's like,
and
and I do this, and I do this. And he's just like, what?
completely.
Yeah,
And we've seen
it's
the
sad.
struggle with Liv, you know, sort of on one level, but she took it to like a whole nother
Oh,
deeper
absolutely.
level. And she was talking about, well, when you're having sex with somebody and you've got the brain of a nun,
Yeah.
a Benedictine nun, or, you know, someone with dementia,
Yeah.
or some
the
of these
dementia one was crazy.
some of these really heavy scenarios, which is totally true. I mean, we're seeing how when you eat the brains, you take on the characteristics of whatever it is. So, like, I never thought of this scenario, and I didn't think iZombie would go there.
I know, and I love this.
I
And I'm
love that they
glad.
went there.
I was like thinking, oh man, like I really hope she doesn't get killed off or like put in the freezer, because I really like this whole storyline as well, and I want to see more of this. So super stoked.
I know, because it's like, you know, you don't often think of people.
No, I never would think of that.
In this scenario, in this line of work, especially the whole workings of life change in the zombie
Yes.
version, you know? So it's like
Exactly.
things were one way as a human, but now that she's a zombie, it's like a whole it's a whole new thing. It's a whole new life to get used to. So anyways, it was really heavy but really informative, and I'm really glad they included that.
I know.
In tonight's episode.
And like, I know that she was talking about some of the visions, but I want to like see those visions play out.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
I don't know if they'll actually do that.
Well, it's interesting because
cool.
yeah, and it's interesting because he, you know, the rest of his victims that he's taken out zombie wise so far have been just that. They've just been victims. We see him get to him real quick, knock him out, put him in the freezer, done.
Exactly.
But tonight was a little different, and this girl got a little more time. We got to hear her story. Now that Liv is out of the picture,
I know that was going to be one of my predictions.
I think we have
we
somewhere
know.
to go.
Yeah.
Totally. Let's get into predictions.
I know.
I think that's pretty much
I know.
it.
Well, I was going to start off with that one.
Do it. Hit it.
Because, I mean, it just seems obvious.
Here we go.
Now, your
time.
TV.
I love it.
So good.
Yes.
All
Okay.
right.
But yeah, as soon as I saw this girl, I will say when she was sitting at the bar, I was like, oh, is this Gilda? It did look like her from the back to the side a little bit.
Okay.
So that's what I was thinking at first. I was like, oh gosh, like, what is he doing? Come on, Major.
Yeah.
Like, seriously, what are you doing? But I kind of like it. And I don't feel like I should, because I have always been Team Liv and Major. But I think it could be an interesting relationship.
Completely.
For sure.
Yes. And I think
I like her.
I like her too.
I love her actually.
Yes, I really, really liked her for many reasons. Like, she was beautiful. She was interesting. She was a different, like, I don't know, a different version of what Liv has been giving us.
Exactly.
Just all of these things tied together, I think, were also very appealing to Major. And I think there's a reason why they brought her in.
I think so too.
For sure. Yes, I happen to think that maybe now that Liv is out of the picture, I feel like she might be out of the picture for good.
I
felt like a solid split on this one tonight. He might revive his lady from the freezer tonight, and I totally had this vision of an episode where I had the vision, not Liv. I had it tonight, where they go and do away with her zombie pimp.
Ooh.
Because he's got his list of zombies that he's got to kill.
Yeah. I was going to say something about that too, because now it's like, what happens at this point with the pimp?
And why let him go free for as long as he is when this awesome lady could be in the mix?
I know. Yeah.
So that's my prediction. I think something might happen there. I think that they've got some more to cover and figure out. And I think we're going to learn a little more about her.
And what do we think about Drake and Blaine? Because that's a hard one. I've been trying to think, like, as we've been talking, like, oh, predictions are coming up. What can I say about Drake and Blaine? But honestly...
honestly, I just feel like it's going to be a huge, like, showdown at some point.
I think so, too.
Because, obviously... we know now that Drake is there for shady reasons. Well, shady to Blaine, especially. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, Blaine will not go down with a fight.
No, absolutely not.
This dude seems very determined. I mean, he's there. He's been turned zombie. He's working for Mr. Boss. Like, just all of these things.
And it wasn't his choice to be turned into a zombie. It was literally because he was dying.
Yeah.
So it was never his choice in the first place, which is something that we should keep in mind.
Totally. And it's going to be really interesting to see how Mr. Boss manipulates him to play this whole double agent sort of scenario. It's so interesting. We have so much to look forward to.
Happy and excited.
Yes. So as we mentioned before, this was the mid-season finale. So we are going to be gone for some time. And we'll be coming back Tuesday, January 12th to pick up iZombie where they left off. So we're excited. So we'll see you guys then.
Yes.
And be sure to interact with us and chat with us and help us figure out any questions that we had tonight. We love it. We hope to hear from you. I've been your host, Blake V. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Blake V Media.
And I'm Desiree Murphy, and you can find me at DMurph625. Thanks for hanging out with us.
See you guys later. Woo!
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AFTERBUZZ TV or its owners or principals.